Shalom, family. Time is almost up. You better get ready while you can. Now, you better get ready before it's too late. We have been talking about preparing yourselves for a long time now. I mean, me and my wife, we've been preaching this and talking this thing for years now. A good long time we've been talking this thing, about getting land and preparing yourself, getting ready. And if you can't get land, then do all you can to prepare yourself for where you're at. We've been talking about this for years. Someone saw a post where someone said, man, the shelves cleared in the store just because of the snow and ice that came. People cleared the shelves, And it's like, you don't understand. People are going to panic like crazy when, as they would say it, the stuff hit the fan, right? When the stuff hit the fan, everything's going to clear out fast. And so you got to prepare yourself. You got to be ready, because when the stuff hit the fan, it ain't going to be no more restocking those shelves. It ain't going to be a truck on its way to restock the shelves. Okay? When things get crazy, a driver driving some food is going to be in a dangerous situation when things go crazy. Okay? So I want you to understand something. We've been doing some videos. We've been showing these different charts and graphs showing how these natural events, catastrophes, have just really revved up in such a way over the last 100 years. It's incredible, and it's getting worse and worse every year. Okay, and so for people to say that we're not in the last days, the scripture tells you this, right? If you go to Luke, okay, you go to Luke chapter 21, and you look at this chapter, and look at what he says in this chapter. There's some key things that the Messiah is trying to say to you to make you ready. Some key things. And so I want to share this with you. So let's go here. Let's go to Luke chapter 21. Okay, now the chapter starts off where the Messiah is talking to the apostles, and he says, as for these things which ye behold, the days will come that in which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down, right? So he's talking about the temple there, when it's going to get destroyed in 70 AD pretty much. So he's prophesying about 70 AD. And so he goes on, though, to tell you to go beyond 70 AD. And he says, take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, and there are going to be many false prophets, is what he's saying is going to come. And then he goes on and says, this here in verse 10, it says, nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, great earthquakes shall be in divers places, famines, pestilence, fear of sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Okay, so he's telling you all these things are going to come. So when you see all this stuff that's going to start coming to pass, he said, I want you to know we're getting close, right? So now let's go down here to verse 29 and listen to what he says in verse 29. So he already told them there's going to be the distress of nations, and you're going to see signs in the moon and in the stars and the earth, distress of nations and perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring, right? Men's heart failing them for fear, looking after those things which are coming on the earth, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. So he's saying you're gonna see some things that's gonna just scare you. It said men's heart is going to fail them for fear. Now listen to this part here, right? When he makes this statement, verse 29. It says, And he spake unto them a parable. He said, behold the fig tree and all the trees, right? When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise, when you see these things come to pass, know that the kingdom of Yah is nigh at hand. So he's telling you, listen here, when y'all see all these great earthquakes and tornadoes and tsunamis and hurricanes and all this stuff rev up and gets worse and worse, he's saying, know that the day of Yah is at hand. It is near. It's close, right? He said, when you see these things, he said, the same way you judge a tree, when you look at a tree and you see the little buds come on. See, right now, it's cold out and there's no little buds on the trees and nothing, so you know it ain't time yet, right? But you know when the spring is about to come, when you start to see those little buds on the trees, these little light green buds, it's like, man, okay, spring is coming. And now summer is at hand. So you know that it's getting close when you see those things. He said, likewise, when you see all these earthquakes and tornadoes and all this stuff rev up in the last days, know that the day of Yah is at hand. Now listen to what he says here, right? Verse 34. It says, and take heed to yourselves. In other words, take heed. Pay attention. Okay? Take heed. Lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with sophiating, which is overeating, and drunkenness, and the cares of this life, so that that day come upon you in unawares. So he says, don't let the feasting, don't let the feasting and the cares of this life and all these things out there that distract you, don't let these things distract you so this day will come upon you in unawares. Now, I think about it, right? Think about this, right? I remember in the 70s. As far as television, you only had a handful of channels. 2, 4, 7, 9, channel 50, channel 20, channel 56, and 62. Pretty much it was all the channels that you could get back in those days, right? So you didn't have this cable. There was no internet. There weren't any video games, right? And so now you got all this stuff right at your hand in your home. All this distraction, right? And so he's saying, don't let all this stuff distract you to the point to where this day, the day of Yah, will come upon you in unawares. Then he says, for as a snare it shall come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. It's going to come on everybody on the face of the whole earth. It's going to be like a snare. You know what it's like when he says it's going to be like a snare? I want you to pay attention when he says it's going to be like a snare. That's like a bird that's outside in the grass and he's just pecking in the grass and eating and stuff, and next thing you know, a cat comes out of nowhere and grabs him. It's like a snare, right? Or a bird gets in a bush and he gets trapped in the bush and can't get out, and then an animal gets him because he got trapped. It's like a snare. He said it's going to come on the whole earth like a snare. It's going to catch everybody off guard. No one is going to be ready for it when it happens, right? So then he says, watch ye therefore, and pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and stand before Yah. So he said, pray that you counted worthy to escape it. Now, I want to say something to you, right? Can you imagine back in the days, in the Bible days, right? When Joseph interpret Pharaoh's dream. Now, can you imagine Joseph interprets the king's dream and tells the king what the dream means, and the king like, oh my God, this is what's going to happen? He said, yeah, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get so many years of where you're going to have crops and it's going to be bountiful, right? When you plant and growing food and all, it's going to be bountiful for 7 years, right? And then you're gonna get these other I think it was 7 years of famine that's going to come. And it's going to eat up all of the stuff that you had. It's going to eat it all up, right? So pretty much when he had this dream and he told it to Joseph, and he said, well, what must I do? Now imagine if Joseph tells him, well, Pharaoh, for the years of plenty, you got to store up so that when the years of lack come, when the year of lack come, you'll have food that'll get y'all through your kingdom. Now imagine if Pharaoh heard that and he said, you know what? All is fine right now. We good. You know, we ain't gonna do anything. Joseph be like, well, Pharaoh, I'm telling you right now, if you don't, your kingdom ain't gonna last. Your kingdom is gonna fall. And Pharaoh looked at him and said, you know, I hear what you're saying, Joseph, you know, but I don't think I have to do anything, you know. I think everything's gonna be all right. Well, then, Pharaoh, you just got what's coming for you then, because you didn't take heed to Joseph when he told you what to do, right? So the Messiah has shown us in his word that these things are going to come to pass, right? These things are going to come to pass, right? So if someone come and tell you, you know what, there's going to be water shortage in the next month. There's not going to be no water anywhere in the next month. So you hear this come forth, right? And you're going to sit there and say, that's okay. We'll get through it. You ain't going to put no water up? You get what I'm saying? So they prepared because they knew what was coming. Yah revealed to them through the Pharaoh's dream prophecy of what was to happen in the next few years. So now we have prophecy now telling us what's going to happen and that we're right at the door of it. Prophecy telling us we're at the door of it when you see these signs. And yet many of us is looking at these signs and you're turning a deaf ear to it, right? That's like a person seeing the leaves fall off a tree in the wintertime, in the fall, and he sit there and say, that's okay, I don't think winter is going to come yet. Are you crazy? You can't stop the winter from coming, so you got to prepare for it, right? You see the leaves falling off the tree, you can't think that winter ain't going to come when you see the leaves fall off the tree. Likewise, when you see these prophecies, you can't think that it's not going to come to pass when you start to see signs of the prophecies come to pass. We are seeing a lot of the signs right now. You got to get ready. And we've been warning people about this kind of thing for years now. For years we've been telling people, look, try to grow your own food. If you can't get no land, grow it in your backyard, right? Grow food in your backyard. Do what you can where you are. Now, I said all this to say this here. I saw a video, very interesting video that I saw. It got my attention because it's the same stuff we've been preaching already anyway. But this video is on YouTube. It's the channel is called Deep South Homestead. Is the guy's channel. He's a Gentile that's talking about getting ready pretty much. And this video is titled 2022, the year that changes everything. Now, some of the things this guy said in this video, we've been saying for a long time. And now we're closing in on that day. It's getting closer and closer to that time, right? And so when I hear these statements that this guy made in this video, it should be enough to make people get their eyes open and say, man, because people, I think people use that fear-mongering thing. They say, oh, you just fear-mongering. I think people say that because they really don't want to prepare. They don't want to get ready. And they don't want the hassle of trying to do this or thinking that anything is ever going to happen. They like, you messing with my comfort zone. Okay, you trying to bust my beautiful bubble of life that I have going on in my head. You're warning me of something and I don't want to hear that, right? And they say you're fear-mongering. Okay, well, what's Revelations then? What is the book of Revelations? If me telling you to get prepared because of what's going to happen, the book of Revelations tell you what's going to happen, and it's a lot worse than what I'm saying in this video. You get what I'm saying? So this isn't fear mongering. It's to cause you to get ready and prepare yourself, right? Now, he made this statement in the video. He said, if you don't get it done by this year, if you don't get yourself prepared and ready by this year, then you're going to be in trouble, is what he said. He said, you don't have 2 to 3 years at the current rate, the way things are going. You don't have 2 or 3 years to try to get ready because it's moving very fast now, right? Just like the graph that I showed you, right? Just like the graph that I showed how these natural disasters have just sprung up in such a way until it's incredible. When you look at the graph, it's like, oh my God, things have escalated this much? Yes, it has. And the graphs really show it to you, right? And if you haven't seen the video I did last week, go and look at the video, okay? Go look at the video that we did that we did last week, okay? The video, let me get the title for this video for you. The video we did is titled, Warning, the Day of Yah is at Hand. Go and look at that video. And then we did another one, The World is Being Judged and Hell has Enlarged Itself. Now, the one warning, the day of Yah is at hand, you got to look at the graphs in this video that shows you how these things have escalated, and that we are at that time that Yahushua was talking about. When you see these leaves fall off the fig tree, this is that time, right? This is why we're blowing the trumpet like we are, right? So this guy, what he's saying is that you don't have 2 to 3 years at the current rate of way things are happening. You don't have 2 to 3 years. If you don't get it done this year, then you're going to miss out. You're going to be in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So get this here, right? Then he made a couple more statements, right? He said you need to take advantage of the situation that you live in, right? He says, if you haven't moved by now, you probably don't have time. So those of you that's looking for land, if you haven't moved by now, you probably, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Because the cost of homes now and property and land has doubled in the past 3 years. It has doubled. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are plots of land that a person could have got a decent piece of land, maybe a couple of acres or more, and a decent house, and probably would have spent only, I want to say, $150,000, right? Now you're going to spend $300 to $400, maybe even $500,000 to get some good land if you want a land with a house on it. Or if you just want land, this land is expensive now. You know, I've seen people have land for sale, and somebody will come in and buy that land at X amount of dollars, they buy it for $20,000, $30,000, and turn around and put it right back on the market for $60,000. This is the time we're living. So unless you got a boatload of money, you're probably going to get locked out of it. So you need to do what you can right now, because time is short. It's very short. You don't have a lot of time. You understand me? And just like the guy said, if you don't get it done by this year, you can forget it, right? So now I want to talk to you about some things that you could possibly do if you do live in the city, because it's not easy to just up and find land and move. You got to have money to do that, right? And so those of you that are stuck in the cities, I'm going to tell you right now, the city life going to get hard, because people are going to be looting, trying to break in people's homes. So you're going to have to arm yourself. You're going to have to get ready. If you got a small backyard, you can grow in your backyard. You can get a greenhouse, right? You can get a small greenhouse put in your backyard. They sell greenhouses very cheap on Walmart and eBay and other sites. You can get a small greenhouse, something like an 8x10 or 8x6 or something like that. A small greenhouse that you can grow a lot of stuff in these greenhouses, right? You got to arm yourself, because you're going to have to protect your food. And another thing you can do, you can raise chickens. You can raise chickens in this world. I knew a lady in Detroit had a basic small lot. No lot of land or anything, just a basic backyard, and she had chickens in her backyard, right? So all I'm trying to say to you is that you can do this thing. It's very easy to raise chickens. It's so easy. I couldn't believe it when we started doing it, how easy it is. And so these are some of the things that you could do, right? If you live in a city, right? And so all I want you to do is understand how serious this is, right? That you don't have a lot of time, right? If we got another year or two, you better count yourself blessed. If Yah gives us another year or two that we can keep preparing and getting ready, that would be awesome. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's coming quick. It's moving very fast, right? You got to pay attention. You got to take heed, like he said in the scriptures here. You got to take this serious, right? The winters are going to get colder. The summers are going to get hotter. Right now, it's people down south are freezing because there's snow everywhere, right? It's people that got snow. They clearing the shells because of the snow, right? And so I was looking at and up north is even colder. And so you got to get yourself ready, knowing that it's quite possible that everything's going to change for down south. People are trying to go down south because they're trying to get away from the cold. So they're looking for land down south. So that's another reason why it's going to be hard to get housing, because a lot of people are looking for it, right? The number of people I've seen, I remember one day I was in the post office and I was listening to these guys talking, and they were talking about how they moved from California. Both of them, two different people, talked about how they moved from California to move down south because they're getting out of the cost of living is higher in California and up north. In some of these places, the cost of living is triple. In some areas, as it relates to like New York, Chicago, and California, the cost of living is a lot more than it is down south. And so basically, you got to understand how things are going to get. And so in order to grow vegetables and things like that, you want to be in a warmer area. So that's why people are moving down south to make it easy on them. And so basically, but there's things you can do. That's why I talked about the greenhouse. You can get a little greenhouse. They sell kits that you can get and just put it together in your backyard. And now you got a greenhouse that you can grow stuff in the fall and in the winter even, you know? You can start to grow stuff. And so there's these things you got to take heed. You just got to take heed and understand where we are with things. And this isn't fear mongering. This is trying to get you to realize how serious this time is that we're in. How serious it is. So I just want you to be prepared. Look at this scripture. Read Luke chapter 21 all the way to the end. Just read it and listen to the language. Listen to what he says at the end of it. He's trying to tell you that this thing is going to come on you like a snare. We're right at the door of it right now. So you're going to see a lot of stuff happen over the next year. You're going to see some things happen probably this year that's going to shock you. And I hate to imagine what things are going to look like next year and the year after. And the year after. If we can look in the future 5 years from now, it's no telling how things are going to look in this world 5 years from now. It's no telling. It's no telling at all. And so, family, I want you to stay woke. Stay woke. Get ready. Be prepared. Time is almost up. Get ready before it's too late. Do all you can now before it's too late. You understand? On that note, I'm going to say shalom.
sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.